us a little insight as to your history. We particularly, since you're a business owner yourself, we're always interested in how someone got to where they are today.
Well, I was, when I was a little kid, I always wanted to be on TV, and I wanted to be a star like Ginger on Gilligan's Island.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, but my parents wanted me to be practical, so when I ended up graduating from school and going to university, I had a few choices, become a doctor, a lawyer, an accountant, so I became a lawyer, a litigation lawyer, Bay Street lawyer. That's kind of like Wall Street, only it's colder. And I'm here in Canada, up in Igloo Country.
Yeah, yes.
So, so became a lawyer, did that for about 10 years, woke up one day and had that is that all there is moment, that Peggy Lee moment, and decided to leave the law, kept the kids, I had 4 kids by that time, and followed my dream of becoming a singer, an actress, comedian, and I promoted the heck out of that until, there were newspaper articles and TV, TV shows, TV features and interviews, and radio, and people started asking me how I did it, how'd you do it, how'd you do it? So I started coaching business people, entrepreneurs, small business owners, on how to get attention, how to get media attention, how to stand out when you only have 30 seconds at the local board of trade meeting. By the way, they don't call it board, B-O-R-E-D, of trade for nothing, because those things at 7:30 a.m. can be a snooze fest. And sometimes you're thinking, at least if one of those guys drops a little rubber egg on his lapel, at least it'll add a touch of color to the proceedings, right? So I started coaching them on how to wow people in 30 seconds and got more media attention and got more speaking engagements. And the pinnacle of, so Entrepreneur Magazine wrote about me, Forbes wrote about me, but I got to say the pinnacle is being on the radio with Joe and Wayne.
Oh, come on. I see why Wayne likes you so much.
What's not to like?
Now I'm smiling and my face is red.
More than I needed to know.
Yeah, we're only the 25th interview she's done this week, so we're special.
Oh, so you've been talking.
I feel special.
Well, but you've got a CD. You're a singer. You've been on television.
Yeah,
all
that stuff, and so what I learned, and I did comedy on national TV. It's true, and what I learned from all of those experiences, from trying to, I had 1,000 CDs in my basement and no car and 4 babies at one point, so I had to learn how to market them, right? Same thing, when the book came out, like I wrote a book called "Step into the Spotlight: A Guide to Getting Noticed." So if I didn't get noticed for the book, then nobody would hire me as a coach to help them get noticed. So I had to learn how to do it, and so I've made my living for the last 14 years teaching small business owners and entrepreneurs how to get noticed, get known, stand out, and
okay. Well, let's back up just a little bit. I want to hear a little bit more about the TV. Tell me what you did on the TV. Everybody wants to be on TV. What did you do on the TV?
Yeah, you got to remember she's Canadian, so.
What did I do on the TV? Okay, well, I did a few things. I was in commercials, a few commercials. Usually there was fresh fruit involved. One of them, I was dancing with fresh fruit on my head for a restaurant, and for another one, I was on. I was on a national. I was actually in a film commercial in Europe. Also dancing with vegetables.
Sounds like a theme.
And then I got on a national TV show for 4 years as an evil cafeteria lady.
That'd be a fun part.
And it was a comedy. So did that, and then I got invited to be on a comedy series. So I did a couple of episodes of that, just doing a bit of stand up. So what I learned from that experience really is that all business is show business, because I had a foot in both worlds, right? I was a Dean's List lawyer. I don't know if I mentioned that. A Dean's List graduate at law school, and was, featured by Canadian Lawyer magazine. So real academic.
Tsufit, you don't have to tell me you're smart, because Wayne only likes smart people. I just assume that you understand. I've known Wayne for many years. I know who he hangs around with.
What is the point of doing radio, Joe, if I can't brag?
You go right ahead.
Right. So
that's true, and all I could say is
in both worlds.
This show would be no good if we all had 2 smart people on the show.
That's a true statement. statement.
I listened to you guys before I came on, and it was fun. So, but enough about you. Let's talk about me.
I like it.
Well, let's do talk about you because okay. First of all, but before we get back into the business, it had to be really scary and intimidating for stand-up comedy. Talk a bit about that. That just seems
I'm not,
intimidating.
Yeah. You're right, because, and I'm not really a stand-up, I don't really consider myself that. I just did it for a little bit of time, to be able to say it and to be able to have that experience, but it is because when you get up there as a stand-up comic, basically the idea is you either make them laugh or the audience is sitting there stone-faced, right? There's no in-between. As a singer, it's a lot easier because if I get up there and I'm a good singer, they're going to clap. But if I get up there and I'm not amazingly funny, they're not very polite about it. They're not going to clap. So for me, really, the way I got started in stand-up was as a singer. So I would go to a club and did a little comedic intro, little comedic outro, and then before you know it, people said, "Hey, you're funny. You can do this." So it never became a big career aspiration. I really just did it for long enough that I was able to use it then in business and do keynotes about marketing using comedy.
Well, I've always thought, and I don't know, I have no experience with this, but I've always thought that stand-up comedians have this handle on business because you literally have to feel the crowd at the moment and sort of adjust. And in business people and in business settings, meetings and so forth, you're constantly doing that. So to me, I sort of relate to the stand-up comedian and see how difficult and challenging that is. And I sort of relate it to business meetings that we all seem to have. That's why I brought that up.
You have to have unbelievable confidence.
Yeah.
In yourself.
And you know what? You're right, Wayne, and you're right, Joe. And
Tsufit,
that was reversed. I know who's who.
No. That's fine. No, that's fine. I just on this show.
I know what he's going to say.
On this show, you should say exactly.
Okay. So you're absolutely right, Joe. You're just a little bit, maybe not so right, Wayne. Okay.
Don't pander.
It's true, and yet Wayne's the one who invited me on. So it's absolutely true, and you can learn lessons in business from Jerry Seinfeld because what Jerry did, people think he gets up and spontaneously just does these acts. Well, if you've ever seen there's a documentary now out called Comedian. So after he left his sitcom that was such a big hit for years, he went back out on the road as a comedian. You'd think with all that he accomplished, he could just show up and do it, but no, he started working on a new half hour or hour thing, and he would just add a little bit, and then go test it, and add a little bit and go test it. And the same thing in business. People stand up at a networking meeting and they do their 30 seconds, or they go and they speak a little bit longer at their B&I or whatever it is. And they think they should be spontaneous because they want to be authentic and they want to be natural. And, you can be more authentic and more natural if you know what you're going to say.
Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And then you can riff on that, but at least you have some clue before you open your mouth. And that's one of the things that I learned from comedy.
Before we go to break here, I've just got to, people that don't know you are probably saying, what are they calling this gal? She spells her name Tsufit. And what does that stand for?
It doesn't stand for anything. That's what my parents did to me.
Doesn't stand for anything? I thought I heard you say once it stands for something.
That's what my parents did to me.
It's pronounced Tsufit.
Tsufit.
And it means hummingbird or sunbird in Hebrew. And
wow.
At the time that I was born, the Israeli Wildlife Society was naming birds, and they renamed a hummingbird a Tsufit, and my parents thought, a Tsufit, a hummingbird collects nectar of honey, that's sweet, she's going to be sweet, we'll name her that. That was before they knew me. And, for the last, umpteen years, whenever I get interviewed, whether it's radio or, just print, that's the very first question. People always think I made it up, and my answer is always, who in their right mind would make up a jumble of consonants that absolutely nobody can pronounce?
Exactly. Boy, I bet you've had every pronunciation in the book.